Dear Starseed from Gaia, the restlessness you have been carrying is not anxiety. It is your soul recognizing that your twin flame is drawing near. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I bring you this transmission directly from the Arcturian Council, delivered in this exact moment because your heart called it in, that unsettled feeling keeping you awake at night, that ache in your chest you cannot explain, that sense that something enormous is about to shift. That is not confusion. That is divine preparation. Your twin flame's energy is moving toward yours with a force that your soul already knows, even when your mind cannot yet name it. You did not find this transmission by chance. Something in you recognized the signal before you even pressed play. The universe is speaking directly to you right now, through the language your heart has always understood. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to read the sacred signs of twin flame reunion and navigate the final stretch of separation with grace and certainty. But here's the first revelation. The restlessness you have been judging as a weakness is actually one of the most powerful signs of imminent divine union. Your energy field is reorganizing itself to receive what is already on its way. This is not content. This is a transmission, and your soul has been waiting for this guidance, like this transmission to affirm to the universe that your heart is ready for divine love. Subscribe if you are on the twin flame path and aligning with sacred union. Comment 10101 if you feel your heart awakening to this truth right now. Your heart knows why you are here. That restlessness you've been feeling, that low hum beneath the surface of your everyday life, is not anxiety. It is not a sign that something is wrong with you. It is a signal, and for a long time, you may have tried to silence it, medicate it, explain it away, or distract yourself from it. But it keeps returning, because it is not a problem to be solved. It is a message to be received. Think about how long you have been carrying it. This unnamed sensation that lives somewhere between your chest and your throat, that surfaces in the quiet moments, in the spaces between tasks, in the stillness just before sleep. You have learned to stay busy so you don't have to sit with it. You have filled your hours, your screens, your conversations with enough noise to keep it at bay. And yet, the moment the noise stops, there it is again. Patient, persistent, ancient. It has the quality of something that does not panic, because it has been waiting far longer than this particular lifetime. It is not the restlessness of a nervous system in distress. It is the restlessness of a soul that knows, at a level deeper than thought, deeper than memory, that something of enormous significance has not yet been fulfilled. And it will not let you forget that. What you just felt, that quiet ache, mixed with recognition, is not sadness. It is your frequency remembering what it came here to receive. If this transmission stirred something you cannot name, the Divine Love frequency code was written for this exact moment in your journey. It contains 5 sacred Arcturian transmissions designed to dissolve the wounds blocking your divine counterpart and activate the signal that draws them closer. The link is in the first pinned comment, but it will only remain there for a short time. Now let's go deeper into what is actually happening. Because most souls on this path never get a clear answer. They feel the restlessness. They feel the pull. They sense that something enormous is approaching in their lives, particularly in the territory of love. But the world around them offers no language for it, and so they turn the feeling inward and start to question themselves. They wonder if they want too much, if they're being unrealistic, if the depth of love they crave is something they invented rather than something they're genuinely meant to receive. The world has a particular kind of cruelty for the soul who longs deeply. It calls that longing naivety. It dresses practicality in the clothes of wisdom and whispers that you should want less, expect less, settle for what is available rather than ache for what feels true. And if you have been on this path long enough, some part of you may have started to believe it. Some small, bruised corner of your inner world may have quietly agreed that perhaps the depth of what you feel is a problem, that the scale of your longing is itself a wound to be healed rather than a compass to be followed. But that agreement was never yours to make. It was handed to you by a world that has forgotten what love at its highest frequency actually feels like. A world that mistakes comfort for connection and familiarity for intimacy. You have not wanted too much. You have wanted exactly what your soul encoded before it arrived here. And the gap between what you carry inside and what has manifested outside has not been a failure. It has been the terrain of your becoming. But here is the truth that the Arcturian heart lineage has been transmitting to awakening souls for generations. You did not invent that longing. You remembered it. There is a difference. What you long for is not a fantasy born of loneliness. It is a memory encoded in your heart from a level of existence that precedes this lifetime. The love you ache for is real. It exists. And it is moving toward you with the same intensity with which you have been moving toward it. That is what the restlessness is. That is what has been waking you up at 3 a.m. That is what sits beneath the surface of every relationship that didn't go the full distance. The quiet knowing that something larger, something truer, was still ahead. Consider the way a tuning fork behaves when struck. It does not produce sound randomly. It resonates at a specific, precise frequency. And across a room, another tuning fork of the same frequency will begin to vibrate in response without being touched. No hands involved. No effort. Pure resonance across space. This is not metaphor. This is the physics of how sacred union operates across the distance that currently exists between you and your divine counterpart. They are not absent. They are resonating. And what the Arcturian transmissions have been trying to communicate across time and dimension to every soul on this path is this: the distance is not the problem. The frequency is the work. When your internal signal becomes clear, when the noise of the wound quiets enough for your true tone to ring out unobstructed, the distance collapses. Not gradually, not in small increments. It collapses, the way darkness collapses when a light is switched on. Suddenly, completely. As if it was never the default state to begin with. The 3 a.m. awakenings are not insomnia. They are not your nervous system malfunctioning. In the Arcturian understanding of human energetics, the hours between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m. represent a thinning of the veil between the frequency you currently occupy and the frequency you are being called toward. Your soul uses those hours to send information that your waking mind is too defended to receive during daylight. The ache you feel in those hours is not grief. It is transmission. Your higher self is showing you the shape of what is coming. And the body responds with a longing so acute it can feel indistinguishable from sorrow. Let that change your relationship to those moments. The next time you wake in the dark, heart full and eyes open, do not reach for your phone to distract yourself from the feeling. Lie still. Breathe. Ask what is trying to reach you. And then listen. Not for words, but for the quality of what is present. The answer will not come in language. It will come as a deepening warmth, a quiet certainty, a sense of something vast and loving looking directly at you from just beyond the threshold of the visible. But here is where most souls lose the thread. The wound of unworthiness does not announce itself. It does not walk through the front door of your consciousness wearing a name tag. It hides inside the perfectly reasonable story that love is just something that hasn't happened yet, that you're still waiting for the right circumstances. That timing simply hasn't aligned. And while some of that may carry truth, it also serves as cover for something much older and much deeper. The belief, installed long before you were old enough to question it, that you are not the kind of person who receives the highest love. That a love like that is for other people. That you will either have to earn it through perfection, perform it through constant giving, or simply wait in silence and hope you are eventually chosen. This belief was not formed in a single moment. It was assembled quietly, over years, out of 1,000 small experiences that your young, forming mind interpreted as evidence. The parent who withheld warmth, the first love who chose someone else. The relationship where you gave everything and still found it was not enough. The years of watching other people seem to find what you were reaching for, wondering what they carried that you did not. Every single one of these experiences deposited another stone on the pile, and the pile became a wall. And the wall became so familiar that you stopped seeing it as a barrier and started seeing it as simply the shape of your life. But it was never the shape of your life. It was the shape of a wound that had been given too much power and too little witness. That belief is the wound. And it does not keep love away because the universe is punishing you. It keeps love away because it operates as a frequency broadcast. And what you broadcast, you magnetize. A heart that secretly believes it is unworthy of sacred union will unconsciously repel the very connections that carry the energy of that union, while drawing in the relationships designed to confirm the wound rather than heal it. This is not your fault. It is simply the physics of how energy works in the emotional body. And the moment you understand it as a frequency pattern rather than a personal failing, everything changes. This is one of the most liberating reframes available to the awakening soul, because it removes blame entirely and replaces it with agency. You are not broken. You are not cursed. You are not being withheld from. You are broadcasting a frequency that was calibrated by pain rather than truth, and the universe, with perfect, impersonal precision, is matching that broadcast. The moment that broadcast changes, the matches change. It is that clean. It is that direct. And it is entirely within your capacity to alter, not through force or willpower, but through the deep and patient work of frequency recalibration. That is what the 7 keys are. That is what this transmission is. Not a set of instructions from outside of you, but a set of reminders of what you already know at the level of the soul. Truths that have been waiting for the moment you were ready to receive them without flinching. So let us begin to turn the first key. Before your divine counterpart can fully arrive in your physical reality, you must unlock the chamber of self-worth that has been sealed by years of evidence collected against yourself. Every relationship that ended, every person who left, every moment you made yourself smaller in order to be loved by someone incapable of truly seeing you. That evidence has been stacking inside your heart like stones against a door. And no amount of hope, prayer, or waiting will open that door from the outside. It only opens from within. The worthiness unlock begins when you stop treating love as a reward for being enough, and start recognizing that you are already the embodiment of what you seek, not because of what you have achieved, not because of how much healing you have done, but because the soul inside you is intrinsically worthy, was born worthy. And the journey you've been on has not been a test of whether you deserve love. It has been an unfolding of your capacity to receive it. Worthiness is not a destination you arrive at after sufficient suffering. It is not something granted to you by another person's choice to stay, or revoked by their choice to leave. It is not a certificate you earn through enough spiritual work, enough self-improvement, enough demonstration of your readiness. It is the ground state of the soul. It is what you were before the wound. It is what remains after the wound has been tended. The invitation of the first key is not to become worthy. It is to remember that you never stopped being so. And that remembrance, when it drops below the level of intellectual agreement and lands in the body, in the cells, in the heart, that is when the field around you literally shifts. Healers who work with energetic frequency describe it as the moment a person's aura changes color. When the muted, contracted field of a soul carrying unworthiness suddenly expands and brightens, as if something that had been held tight for decades finally exhaled. That expansion is palpable, it is measurable. And the people and experiences that begin to appear in your life afterward carry a noticeably different quality, as if the world itself has been told that you now know your worth and has adjusted accordingly. When this key turns, something shifts in the body. There is a softening, a quiet exhale you may not have known you were holding, and the relationships in your field begin to rearrange themselves to match the new signal you are sending. The second key moves deeper. Your divine counterpart does not appear to complete what is broken in you. They appear to reflect what has already been healed. This is perhaps the most misunderstood aspect of sacred union. The idea that the right person will arrive and finally make you feel whole. That idea, while beautiful on the surface, carries within it the seed of its own destruction, because if you are seeking someone to make you whole, you are approaching union from a state of depletion. And a depleted signal does not call in resonance, it calls in rescue. And rescue, as many of you have already experienced, never lasts. There is a particular kind of love that blooms from emptiness, intense, consuming, intoxicating in its early stages, devastating in its dissolution. It is the love that says, "You are the only thing that makes me feel real." The love that cannot bear distance, cannot tolerate independence, cannot survive the ordinary in-between moments of a shared life. This love is not sacred union. It is two wounds pressed together, each hoping the other will heal them. and both, eventually, reopening under the pressure of that hope. Many of the relationships that have left you heartbroken were not failures of love. They were encounters between souls who were both seeking completion in the other and discovering, painfully, necessarily, that completion cannot be sourced from outside the self. That discovery, as brutal as it feels in the moment of its revelation, is one of the greatest gifts the love path can offer, because it removes the false premise entirely and redirects you toward the only love that can precede and support sacred union, the love you are capable of generating within yourself. The shift happens when you stop asking the universe to send you someone who will fill your emptiness and start asking it to send you someone who matches your fullness. That is a radical reorientation, because it means the work is not about finding them. The work is about becoming, more and more completely, the version of yourself that already knows love from the inside out. When you embody that version, even partially, even imperfectly, the mirror dynamic activates. Your counterpart does not complete you. They confirm you. They look into your eyes and reflect back the love you have cultivated within yourself. And that reflection is unlike anything you have felt in a love rooted in need. There is a specific quality to the love that appears when the shift has occurred. It does not arrive with urgency. It does not announce itself with the frantic energy of something you have been starving for. It arrives more like a homecoming, like a recognition that bypasses the mind entirely and lands directly in the heart. Like meeting someone for the first time and somehow knowing, not with certainty you could argue for, but with a quiet and unshakable sense that this was always going to happen. That you were always moving toward each other across the distance and the time and the healing work. That every chapter that preceded this one was not a detour, but a preparation. That is the love that endures. That is the love the second key unlocks the readiness to receive. The third key requires a kind of courage that is quiet rather than loud. You are carrying energetic agreements, old contracts formed in past relationships, in childhood, sometimes in lifetimes that precede this one, that are still active in your field. These contracts often look like repeating patterns, the same emotional dynamic playing out with different faces, the same wound getting activated through different circumstances. You may have done the therapy, done the journaling, done the healing work, and still find yourself pulled back into the familiar ache. That is not a failure of your healing. That is a karmic contract that has not yet been consciously dissolved. The Arcturian understanding of karmic agreements is not punitive. These contracts were not imposed on you as punishment. They were entered into at a soul level before this lifetime as part of the specific curriculum your soul chose in order to develop the capacities it needed. The person who broke your heart in the deepest way may have been your greatest teacher in a prior agreement, and the heartbreak itself may have been the precise mechanism through which the teaching was delivered. This does not mean the pain was not real. It was real. It does not mean you are not wronged. Perhaps you were. But it does mean that beneath the story of what happened, there was an agreement in motion, one that has now run its course. If you are willing to declare it complete, releasing these contracts is not about anger, ritual, or dramatic declarations. It is about recognition. It is about looking clearly at what a relationship was designed to teach you, receiving that lesson fully, and then speaking, even silently, even internally, words of completion. What was meant to teach has taught. What was meant to pass has passed. I release the energetic agreements that no longer belong to the chapter I am entering. That release creates space in your field. Literal, measurable space. And into that space, divine union can finally move. You will know when a karmic contract has been released, because the emotional charge around a particular person or pattern will soften without effort. You will not have to force yourself to feel neutral. You will simply notice that the fire that once consumed your thoughts about that person has become, at most, a warmth, perhaps even a gratitude. Not the performed gratitude of spiritual bypassing where you tell yourself you're grateful before you've actually felt the grief, but the genuine earned gratitude that comes when you can hold the whole of an experience, the pain and the gift, in the same open hand, and say thank you for the initiation, and I am ready for what comes next. That is release. That is the third key turning. And what moves into the space it creates carries a frequency your field has never hosted before. The fourth key asks you to do something that may feel counterintuitive for a soul who has been waiting as long as you have. It asks you to stop tracking the timeline. The divine does not operate on the schedule your mind has constructed. And every moment you spend calculating why it hasn't happened yet, measuring your readiness against the absence of its arrival, you are broadcasting doubt into the very frequency you are trying to strengthen. Surrender, in the context of divine timing, is not passivity. It is the most active spiritual posture available to you, because it redirects the enormous energy you have been spending on waiting and wondering, and pours it directly into becoming. When you stop asking when, and start asking who am I becoming in preparation, the timing collapses. Not because you stopped caring, because you stopped resisting. And the universe can only deliver what your field is open to receive. The mind has a particular relationship with time that the soul does not share. The mind exists in linear sequence: before, now, after. And it uses the gap between desire and fulfillment as evidence of failure. The longer the gap, the more the mind constructs a case against your worthiness, against the reality of what you are calling in, against the trustworthiness of the divine itself. The soul does not experience time this way. For the soul, what is meant for you already exists. It exists in the frequency of your highest timeline, fully formed, fully real. And the gap between your current experience and its manifestation is not time as the mind understands it. It is vibrational distance. And vibrational distance collapses not through waiting, but through alignment. This is why surrender is the work. Because surrender is the act of releasing the mind's grip on the timeline, so that your vibrational body can do what it needs to do, which is not to arrive at a particular moment, but to arrive at a particular frequency. When the frequency is reached, the timeline resolves itself, often in ways you could not have orchestrated with all the planning in the world. The fifth key is where everything accelerates. Magnetic embodiment means becoming in your daily lived experience the energetic equivalent of the love you are calling in, not performing it, not projecting it onto others, embodying it. In how you speak to yourself, in the boundaries you hold, in the way you move through the world, in the quality of attention you bring to ordinary moments. Divine love does not respond to desperation, to longing, to the frequency of lack. It responds to resonance, and resonance is built one choice at a time. Every moment you choose to honor yourself is a moment your signal strengthens. Every time you refuse to settle for a connection that does not honor the fullness of who you are recalibrating your broadcast. Every time you choose rest over anxiety, presence over obsession, trust over fear, you are becoming the frequency that makes union not just possible, but inevitable. Magnetic embodiment is not a performance. It is not the cultivation of an attractive personality or the careful curation of a self-image that looks healed from the outside. It is something far more internal and far more powerful than any of those things. It is the accumulation of 1,000 quiet daily choices, each one made in alignment with your own deepest knowing rather than in response to fear or lack. It is the meal you prepare for yourself with care, because you are worthy of nourishment. It is the conversation you choose not to engage in, because it drains rather than feeds. It is the boundary you hold, not angrily, not apologetically, but with a quiet certainty that comes from knowing your own value. It is the prayer you offer not from desperation, but from trust. It is the way you walk into a room carrying the knowledge of your own sacred nature, not as arrogance, but as a settled, unshakable groundedness that others feel before you have spoken a word. That quality, that groundedness in your own divine nature, is the most magnetic force available to the human soul. And when it becomes your baseline rather than your occasional peak state, the field around you becomes irresistible to exactly the frequency of love you have been calling forward. The sixth key holds something many of you have been in the middle of and may have misunderstood entirely. If you are in a period of separation from a person, from a dream, from a version of love you believed was yours, know this: distance in the sacred union path is not abandonment. It is architecture. The universe does not create gaps in your love story to punish you or delay you. It creates them to ensure that when the two of you arrive at the same door, you have each done the work that allows the union to sustain itself. Separation is the soul's curriculum. It is designed to develop in each person what the other cannot develop for them. The loneliness you feel in the gap is real. Do not let anyone spiritually bypass your pain by telling you it doesn't matter. It matters. Feel it, and then expand your understanding of what it is doing in service of what is coming. When a cathedral is being built, there are long periods where all that is visible is scaffolding. The bones of something extraordinary, yes, but covered in construction, in process, in incompleteness. From the outside, it does not yet look like what it will become. A person who did not understand architecture might walk past it and see only the unfinished, the imperfect, the not yet. But the architect sees the whole structure complete in the blueprint, knows that every beam being placed is necessary, that every delay is structural rather than arbitrary, that the waiting is not empty time, but load-bearing time. The separation you are moving through is load-bearing. It is building in you the very capacities that the union will require. The depth of self-knowledge, the rootedness in your own worth, the clarity about what you will and will not accept, the capacity to be with yourself fully, which is the prerequisite for being fully with another. The aloneness is not the punishment, it is the preparation. And every day that you move through it with as much consciousness as you can summon, you are completing a section of the blueprint that the union cannot do without. The seventh key is perhaps the simplest and the most profound. The door to reunion opens from within, not from their side, from yours. All of the work you have been doing, the worthiness healing, the karmic releasing, the timeline surrendering, the magnetic embodiment, it has all been preparation for this final unlocking. The moment your heart reaches a state of integration, where it is no longer split between longing and resistance, no longer held hostage by the wound of the past and the fear of the future. In that moment, something in the fabric of your reality shifts. Quietly, almost imperceptibly at first, but then you begin to notice it everywhere, in the quality of coincidences, in the way strangers speak to you, in the dreams that begin to carry a different frequency, in the unmistakable sense that something enormous is no longer approaching. It has already arrived at the edge of your life, and it is simply waiting for the final door to open. Integration is not the same as resolution. You do not need to have resolved every wound, answered every question, healed every layer. Integration is when all of those layers, the healed and the still healing, the known and the not yet known, are held within a heart that has stopped fighting itself. It is when the longing and the peace can coexist, when you can want what you want deeply, sincerely, with your whole self, and simultaneously trust the timing completely, without that trust feeling like resignation. That coexistence, desire and surrender inhabiting the same heart at the same moment, is perhaps the most advanced spiritual frequency a human being can embody. And when it is reached, the seventh key does not require effort. It turns on its own, as if it was always waiting for exactly this level of readiness to make it possible. That door is you. It has always been you. Here is what the Arcturian heart transmissions want you to carry from this moment forward. You are not unlovable. You have never been unlovable. You are a soul of extraordinary depth who chose a love path that required extraordinary preparation. Every relationship that broke you open was not a mistake. It was an initiation. Every night you spent alone wondering if love had forgotten your name was not evidence of your unworthiness. It was the universe holding sacred space while it prepared something your heart would not have been ready to receive any sooner. You did not fail at love. You are in the process of arriving at it, and that process, every painful, bewildering, beautiful chapter of it, has been leading you here, to this frequency, to this readiness, to the version of yourself who no longer has to ask if they deserve the highest love, because they have become the living answer, the soul that has traveled the long road, who has loved and lost and loved again, who has sat in the rubble of what didn't last and found the courage to believe something better was still possible, who has done the inner work not knowing if or when it would bear fruit. That soul carries a quality in their love that cannot be manufactured by someone who is handed ease. There is a tenderness in the deep feeler. There is a wisdom in the one who has known the contrast. There is a quality of presence in the heart that has learned to hold its own pain with gentleness. A presence so rare, so luminous, so extraordinarily healing to encounter, that when it is met by its divine counterpart, the recognition between them is electric and inevitable and impossible to mistake. You are not too much. You are exactly the right amount for the love that is coming. And that love has been calibrated to match every dimension of you: the depth, the sensitivity, the ache, the fierce and tender heart that has never stopped believing even when it couldn't afford to admit that it still did. Tonight, before sleep, place your hand on your heart. Breathe slowly until you feel something soften beneath your palm. And say these words aloud, in whatever voice feels true. I am worthy of the love my soul came here to receive. I release every agreement that kept it from me. I trust the timing I cannot yet see. I am ready. Say it not as a wish. Say it as a remembrance. Let those words drop below the level of affirmation and become declaration. Let them land in the body rather than echo only in the mind. Feel the weight of them. Feel what rises in response. Whatever grief surfaces in that moment is grief that needed witnessing. Let it be witnessed. Whatever warmth spreads through your chest in the saying of those words is your soul recognizing its own truth. Let it be felt without diminishing it or qualifying it or immediately wondering if you mean it enough. You mean it enough. The fact that you are here, receiving this transmission, engaging with these keys, willing to sit with this level of depth, that is the evidence of your readiness. You do not need to be perfect to begin. You only need to be willing. And you already are. Before you move on, take one moment and leave something real in the comments. Not a reaction, a truth. One thing from your heart. Where you are in this journey, what you are releasing, what you are calling in. And when you see someone else's offering there, meet it with love. This space is not a comment section. It is a convergence of souls on the same path. And your presence here is part of the collective activation. If this message reached something inside you that needed to be reached, share it. Someone in your life is carrying the same restlessness and has not yet found the language for it. Give them this. And if you feel the call to stay in this frequency, subscribe. Stay. There is more coming, and it is being transmitted specifically for souls like you, at exactly this stage of the journey. You are not here by accident, and you are not walking this path alone.